Welcome to Rosin Evolution. Today we're looking at presses over $1,000. Today we're looking at all of these presses we have here to see which one we like and how they'll operate. They are in order of price, so we've got the least expensive one on this side all the way up to the most expensive one. And they all have different size plates, different construction to them, and different functionalities. So let's take a closer look at each one and kind of give us an idea of which one should I get. All of these are compatible with our Rosin Evolution bags. We have different size bags for every press depending on what you're trying to do. So we've also got our Rosin Evolution parchment paper that'll help on your collection side of things. Let's get started. We'll start off with Rosin Technologies manual press. This thing is $1,380. We've got one solid piece of metal here to make it easier so that you don't even need directional flow. You can just let it flow off the sides so your paper can go in there pretty easily. Let's look at the size of these plates. 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And for that kind of press, we would go with the 1.375 by 4 25 micron bag. They fit perfectly in there. We've actually made those bags custom sized for this press. Rosin Evolution parchment paper, 6 by 12, 55 pound, works perfect in there. The controller plugs in right into here. I can already tell there's no way to lock it in, so you're gonna be holding that down, and this handle is pretty short. In an in-depth video, we're gonna try to take it apart and see if we can add a longer handle on there. But overall, the construction of it is really solid. I love the one-piece look to it. Now we're gonna be moving up to the Sasquash. This is $2,250 that comes with controllers, which are built in, as well as the hand pump. Size of the plates, we're at 7 by 4. So 7 by 4 is real versatile size. You can use multiple size bags, anything from a 2 by 4.5 all the way up to 3 by 6. So you can press a lot with these things. The overall construction is really nice. They're all in one piece right here. Hydraulics coming out of here for the hand pump. The controls are down here for the temp. About 55 pounds, which is kind of heavy, but when you look at the plates and you look how much pressure you're putting on, it's about average. Looks like we're about 1 inch on each side. Gives us a little bit of wiggle room. Looks good. Let's go check out the next one. Next, we got the Lowtemp setup. This is the 3x5 and the 4x7. For the 3x5, we are looking at $2,905. That includes the fancy controller that comes with this unit. This thing is able to gauge pressure as well as a bunch of other features, Bluetooth and things like that. The larger size with the nicer controller and the hand pump is $3,150. The smaller one comes in at about 45 pounds and the bigger one comes in at around 58 pounds. The size of the plates, like we talked about, is a 3x5, so that's 5 inches by 3. Yep, let's look at that one. That's 7 by 4. It's all in one unit right here. They do have this fancy pressure gauge, and that also feeds into the controller. The functionality is really good. You know, one of the things is this is at fully open, so that's as big as you're going to be able to open up the plates, about 1 inch. And then there's really not much room off to the sides. So this would definitely be a directional flow setup where you're pushing the rosin out of the front. In terms of bag sizes, I like using the 2 by 4.5 inch for this 3x5 plates. When you go to the 4x7, you can go to the 3x6 bags, which will do a lot more at a time. The 8x16 size parchment paper for both of these presses would work well. I love my Lowtemp plates. We use them all the time. They do tie in together what they call a Medusa setup, where you can put 5 of them in a row and have one hand jack working the press. We do have an unboxing of this one. If you wanted to check it out on our channel, we're gonna have the link to that video down below in descriptions. All right, let's go on to the next one. Next, we're looking at the Rosin Technologies Air Assist Press. So this is one of the bigger presses that they make. It's a push button, and this particular one's got a second stage to kind of help push it down. We're gonna look at this one. This is $3,800. The construction of it has the same C-stand look. This comes in at 4 by 2 3/4. For a press like that, I'd probably use 2 by 4.5 inch bags. The controls on it are these 2 side buttons. You press them at the same time, and the second stage will give it a little stopping point for it to heat up the press as it's going through. This thing is about 80 pounds, so it is heavy. The controls wrap around on this side. You've got these ones up to the box up here. It looks like they've got one controller for both temps. Air regulators on this side to control the pressure that you're pushing through the hoses. It's really stable, so you're not getting any wiggling on the plates. This one is with air assist, which requires a compressor. Compressors are typically pretty loud. When we set this up, we ended up grabbing a nitrogen tank to use. Nitrogen's good for some of these higher end machines that you want to keep the lines clean. It is a little more expensive to refill the bottles, but we've got one of those big ones and it lasted quite a long time. You do have a little bit more control of the pressure with the hydraulics than you do at air assist. That's why they have this 2-stage valve, because instead of it just coming down at that pressure, you can give it 2 stages to where it warm up the bag and then apply full pressure. So that's the rosin technology. Let's go on to the next one. All right, next we have the Access Rosin S2 Fluid. $3,995, so pretty much 4,000 bucks. They've got this angle on here to try to get a directional flow. It does come with a couple of legs right here that we've taken off. We put the suction cups right on there just because it was sitting up a little bit too tall. This thing comes in at about 40 pounds. We are at about 9 inches on the longest part, and on this part we're at about 4 inches by about 4.5 inches. And in the longest part we're at about 2 inches. So this is a little bit different. This actually has the heat controllers up at the top with these cords coming down. They have the switch button on the far side right here. Got a nice feel to the switch, I like that. Click, that's good. On this side, we've got stand for to grab your bags and put them right on the press. I like the little accessories they've got here. As far as bag size, this one's tricky because of these side cut-ins. 2x4.5 would work really well. Let's go a little wider and see what that looks like a 3x6. And that looks like it would work pretty good. So you can do a 3x6 and fold it up. Access Rosin has this different shape plates, but they also have a new press that's about to come out. We're waiting for it right now. As soon as it gets in here, we're gonna do an in-depth review along with this one. All right, let's take a look at our next press. Pure Pressure Helix. So this particular model is discontinued, but they do make a similar one that's bigger plates. So we're gonna kind of price it based on the bigger plates. This comes in at $3,995. This has a manual twist on it that pushes the plates up and down. It's got really sturdy construction. It's all in one piece right here where you don't have hoses. Let's open this up and take a look at the size of these plates. We're at about 4 by 2.5. So it's definitely on the smaller side for the width. You can go with the 2-inch bags for these. It's just gonna be a little bit tight on the forward back. The controls are displayed right up here, which I think is pretty sleek. That looks nice, clean. Their overall design of this thing is pretty good. We viewed this one a lot. For the price range we're at the $4,000 price range, I'm just not sure about a manual press. It is one to talk about. A lot of people do use Pure Pressure, so that's the Helix Pure Pressure. And let's move on to our final press. Last but not least, we have the Sasquash Yeti Pro Series. This one comes in at $7,800, and it is one of the bigger presses we have. Comes in at about 80 pounds. Plate size of 8x4. So 3x6s or the 3x10s would work really well for this press. One of the things that I really like about it is it's got a similar C-shape press. It's all contained in there. The display looks really nice. The hydraulics is out of the back, so that's where you'd plug in your hose. It is a 10 tons. The opening up here is a little bit bigger, about 1.25 inches, which is plenty for this press. I really like the Yeti. It is kind of big and a little bit heavy, but for the design and the way it looks, it is good. 7,800 is a bit steep, but it is a quality machine and a lot of people do use this one in their labs. All right, now that we got done with the tough part of just going through the prices, let's go ahead and do a press. We're gonna be doing a more in-depth view of each press to see what it's like actually functioning. So subscribe, like, comment below which one you wanna see first. We have 3 more presses to look at, but we couldn't fit them on the table. We've got a Pelly Polar Press, we have another Access Rosin, which we kind of mentioned, and a Hashtag on its way. So stay tuned. We have 3 more presses over $1,000 coming soon.